I'm Krista, and so we're just still busy with tech setup and making sure everything works. They've asked for the sessions to be recorded this morning, so I quickly scrambled to submit my PowerPoint slides, etc., etc. So just so you know, we will record all 3 sessions. And the next thing is for me to make sure that those who opted to join us virtually actually connected with us virtually. So what I'm doing is I open Microsoft Teams on my computer. I have the app downloaded, but what I can do is I can also open up Teams in a browser. So sometimes, this is just extra information, sometimes when you have a session in the app, but you want to do something else in the app somewhere else, you can go to the browser and you can actually working in 2 teams at the same time, but in different places. And then of course, I have it on my phone as well. So it just showed me that somebody in this team started a meeting and I have the option to join. So this is how it will happen. If you are part of Teams and someone starts a meeting within one of the channels, you will get the notification with the option to join, yes or no. Okay, so once I'm sure that we have everyone here, I will start the first session. Thanks for being here.
Do you have access to the recorded video?
That is something that Andrea can answer because it's the engineering faculty recording.
Okay, and then
Yeah.
you send it to everybody who attended the session?
I'm not sure. Ask Andrea. I'm not sure what the plan is with the distribution.
Okay.
So we're supposed to have downloaded the team already for this session and ready to go? Or?
If you're in the room, you don't need Teams, but I share a whole lot of material within Teams. And this will give you the opportunity, if you log into Teams, to ask me questions about it as well, because it is one of the technologies that I'll talk about a lot in all 3 sessions. Okay, so the best is if you haven't used Microsoft Teams before, just Google Microsoft Teams McMaster, and you will find the page where you can enter your Microsoft tools. It's the Office Hub on the IT website, and from there you can click on Teams, download it or open it in a browser. You sign in automatically with your Mac ID and password. So as you can see, I have participants on the right-hand side. I am in the channel at the moment, and when I have participants, the way it works in Microsoft is it's got these 3 little dots that open up in a menu. So I can literally ask people to join as well. Okay. Afternoon. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I will share my screen. As you can see, I activated the live captions. Once again, the toolbar allows for us to open this menu, more actions. I've blurred the background so that they don't see me on the camera and here on the screen. And I've turned on live captions. Now I'm going to share my screen. I apologize if my screen looks messy at any one point in time, but it's going to be the easiest to use because I might go to different apps and not only to PowerPoint. So I get an option to either share my desktop or one of the windows that I have open. So. So the first session is We'll focus on inclusive technology-enabled teaching or inclusive online learning. I'm Krista Morrison. I work as a digital pedagogy specialist at Macpherson Institute. I've been with the university for just over 2.5 years. Before that, I was a sessional instructor. I taught at 3 different institutions in the GTA. I also offered workshops to working professionals in the media industry, inside and outside of Canada, of which one organization was the Science Media Centre of Canada. And I was a full-time student in 2012-2013, so a whole lot of my experience and insight and knowledge leans also on what it was like to be a full-time student. I've designed and redesigned technology-enabled courses in different programs. Please switch. Those of you who join, please switch off your microphones. Thank you. Pardon? Code? Oh, the team? Yes. Okay, one moment. Let's go back here. So how do you find the code for a team? I'll go to the team. The team is called the Fireball Academy. You can actually decide whether you want the teams to be displayed as a list or, you know, in blocks like this. I prefer this, it's easier for me to see. When I go to the Fireball Academy team, I can click on the drop-down menu next to the team. I can click on Manage Team. Then I click on Settings. I go down to Team Code. And if it was a new team, it will prompt me to generate a code. So I just click Generate a Code, but I have it already. So if you need to join us now, that would be the code. Okay, that means when you go to Teams and you log in, you go to Join or Create a Team now. And it will be join a team with a code, and you'll just enter the code there. And that should send me a notification that you joined the team. Okay, so let's minimize this.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Maybe before we continue, I can show you what I did in the team. So if I open up our team, I've created channels on the left-hand side. I've started the session live, so it's basically starting a meeting live with everyone that's a member of this channel at this point in time. So those who joined us remotely, they are online here now. What I did here as well is I'm going to ask you to answer a question a bit later on. So if I go to this channel, I'm going to ask you to either point your device, your mobile device camera, open up your camera and just point it to the QR code and it will open up Menti file. Or you can go to Menti by clicking on the top tab that says Menti. I've added Menti to our team space there as well. So there's Menti, and then you'll just put in the code there. So there are various ways of, I could have given you the web link as well to just click on. So there are various ways of doing this. If you want to ask any questions that you feel is not a question you want to ask impromptu, because I like it when it's more of a discussion like this and less of a presentation, then you can click on notes and just type in your questions there. Can I? Was there a question?
I was just gonna say, if you could have scrolled back to the little QR code. So the QR code was up on my screen, because I'm in here, but I was just gonna, yeah, there, right there. First we, you have to go back.
No, that's for
Go back.
So I have.
Oh, well,
The team code, I'm going to put the team code here.
Yes, I had 10 channels. And then I chose, yeah, the one that she had up there, and then the inclusive online teaching one. Inclusive online teaching.
I don't see the same interface. I don't see the channel see on the left. Is that? Should I look for the channel name?
Teams, microphones. Are you signed in with your McMaster email?
Yeah.
Oh, so double click on the Fireball Academy,
Yeah.
and then
Oh,
there's
oh.
the channels. Yeah. Anybody else needs to find the different channels? Okay. So I'll go back to this channel where we are.
What do we do with the code? Do we just take a picture of it on the?
You can take your device and just point it to the QR code, and it should then zoom in and prompt you to click on it and open up a, if your device, you see the top, yeah?
Okay.
Yeah,
Right.
and it takes you to that question.
Oh.
Okay. I think people are in the wrong session here. Let me see if meeting is inclusive. This is our session. But it looks like there's another meeting going on in our channel. So let's see. I don't know if the... Did someone start a meeting? Okay, I'll just say.
I'm GW, I've joined your meeting.
If you started this meeting,
No, I didn't start it, I joined it.
please end it. Please
I
quit.
clicked on join.
Yeah.
Started it, yeah, I didn't, definitely didn't start it.
Okay. Okay, so we've got that covered then. This is our meeting, and this is the people that I can see. I can see Andrea is online. Great. Yeah. Perfect.
So that's me, GW.
And they can all see my complete screen at the moment. I like to do it this way because then people can get a better sense of what's going on if they're not in the room. Okay, so I'll go back to our PowerPoint. Any questions about me, my background, what I can or cannot do? Only the knowledge and skills and abilities that I bring to the table is possible today. And so I was first asked to facilitate these workshops looking at the innovative technologies we have on campus. And then I think COVID-19 contingency planning happened over the last week, and a whole lot of focus is now more on if something happens and we need to continue teaching and we are not on campus, what do we do? So this presentation was not really designed with that in mind, but I will make sure that I point out what we can do with the technologies that we have on campus. So if you don't mind, please go to Mentimeter now. You can click on the tab within the Teams. You can point your camera to the QR code, or just go to menti.com, put in the code 235223, and please answer this question. So the way you can use this when you are online is I can go to Mentimeter. My presentation's really easy to go to what I've created. And and I can see what is happening on the slide right now. And I can present this. Okay, so let's get an idea of what the mood in the room and the questions in your mind look like. You're looking for the easiest tool. I hope you're going to tell me to do what with, how to use some cool new tech in the classroom. I definitely hope I will convey that. More info about Microsoft Teams, most definitely. Learn how to offer online classes to my students. This will be a good introduction to that, because what I'm sharing in this workshop is more focused on what are the technologies that we do have available on campus, and you know, how do we engage our students by making use of that? How do we foster participation? Research show that yes, it's really important to focus on student engagement on 5 different levels, and I will go into that this afternoon. But the engagement is not the critical part that will lead to better learning, it's the participation. And the participation happens when there are 1 or all 3 of groups of interactions that take part. And the first is the interaction between the students and the instructor. So the more opportunities you provide for students to interact with you and for them to get feedback, that is number 1. The interaction between the students and the content. So what do they do with that content? What do you ask them to do with that content? Do they interact with it, or, you know, do they skip parts? Do they know where to find it? So the interaction with the learning content, and then the third interaction that's really important is, do you provide opportunities for students to interact with each other? Okay. So thank you very much for this. Learn about technology options that I have to use in my teaching. For online and video lectures, whether the web app and Chrome is just as good as the desktop app. Balancing in-person, online. Great. I would like to encourage you to, you know, interrupt me, ask questions. That's how you're going to get the most out of the session. Otherwise, I'm just going to keep on talking and there would be a deck of slides. So to go back to our slideshow. We've done this. Then the goals of this specific session today, when we think about inclusive teaching and we're making use of educational technologies, especially when the interactions between you and the students and the students, and the students and the content happens online via digital devices on digital platforms, it is really important for us to consider access, accessibility, and inclusivity. And why are we focusing on that? Because we have learners, and it's all about, do they reach the learning objectives of that specific course? And on top of having learners, we have places where the learning happen, and we have tools that we can use to enhance that learning. And why did I choose to include a picture of younger children interacting with a range of digital devices? Because I think when we think about access, accessibility, and inclusivity, when we think about where people get together in spaces to learn and what tools they make use of, we need to consider who our students are. What is the skill set? What is the competencies? What is the experience that they come with? Because if we know the answer to that, it's easier for us to find the places, the spaces to meet them. And then we have a better understanding of how much time we ask of them to make use of the tools that, you know, we might use. So I just did like a random survey on campus, walking up to a whole range of students in September and October on campus. And when they had like the club's introduction day to all of them, and I would stop these first year students and ask them, what do you feel is your biggest challenge when you use technology for learning? And was there anything that changed between being in high school and starting as a student here? And I was absolutely shocked and surprised to learn that one of their biggest challenges is how to type on a keyboard when they do digital note-taking. I think it's really important to take note of the fact that our school students are coming from learning spaces where they have carts full of mobile devices, iPads, etc. And this generation can communicate really well with two thumbs, and they are really, really good and fast to make use of touch and drag and drop. But unless they are into computer programming, a lot of gaming, and probably then just a few keys and strokes that they are very familiar with, but there is definitely a need for us to be cognizant of the fact that not all students, because they are part of Gen Z, the I generation, can use technology and can use it well. So please take that into account. So why are we even considering access to teaching and learning? Why are we considering accessibility? The ability for students in various situations and with a range of abilities to get access to the teaching and to the learning, to interact through these devices with each other, with the instructor and TAs, and with the content. And how can we consider designing our learning and delivering our learning in a more inclusive manner? I think, like I said, this week is just the proof to me of why it is so important to think about access. Where do we have our learning spaces? If we close the science building on campus tomorrow, we don't have access to the spaces where we would traditionally go and learn. Which other spaces do we make use of? Which do we have available here at McMaster? And that's what I hope to answer, is make sure that at the end of this afternoon sessions, you will know which institutionally supported learning spaces are available when students can't access physical buildings. So when thinking about access, what would they want to access? I'm not going to concentrate on the admin part of my grades, etc., etc. I'm focusing on teaching and learning, the content, the instructor, and the fellow students. So yes, what are the tools available to us? What are the teaching strategies that we can consider? So once again, please think about the learning content. How can I get access to the slides, to the textbook, to the whatever the learning content would be? How do I get access to the process of learning? I think the process of learning is really important to think about today. I mean, is learning something that happens only within a classroom? Or is learning that something that happens everywhere? Is learning something that happens only when I interact with my instructor or the TAs? Or is learning also something that happens and that we create when we have discussions within teams and within groups as students? So that process, how do you give access to that process of learning if a student is in self-isolation because of a disease or whatever, how can we give them access to what happens where learning is created, that process? And then, of course, the space and the tools. When I think of educational technologies and the technologies that we can use to enable teaching and learning more deeply, I think of them as learning spaces. I think of them as this virtual campus that we have access to, on top of having access to labs on campus, theater-style classrooms on campus. We have a learning management system. We have a learning space like Microsoft Teams, where it really depends on what would you like to happen in that learning space. Is it going to be about conversations that are happening? Is it about group work that will happen? Is it about collaborating on a document? Is it about collaborating on something else? So I think when we consider what the learning objectives are and what you hope the students will learn, the knowledge, the skills, the competencies, then we can match that to the available spaces that we have and make a more considered choice about where that specific teaching / learning should happen. Yes?
Are you also considering evaluation of the students' learning? Because I think some people would include that, and some people would say, well, no,
Yes.
that's a separate component. Because like you're thinking about lectures and slides and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
Yes. But what about the evaluation
Yeah.
piece? Is that something that fits into what you're going to talk about?
Absolutely. Evaluation, I think, is a critical part. So for me, the elements of a course is, if I can call it elements, it's the students, it's the instructors involved, it's the learning content, it's the learning objectives, it's the assessment, the activities, the assignments, all of that happens, that should all align to get them to the outcomes. And so I think this specific session focuses a lot more on, we are now talking about access, but then accessibility and more inclusion. But as we move on to session number 2, we will focus more on collaboration and communication and review, like do we have tools to, make peer review of teams, etc., possible. So yeah, absolutely. Please keep on reminding me and asking me if you have questions about those specifics. So to come back to access, I think the educational technologies either provides us with a space where learning can happen, or it provides us with specific tools. How to record a video is a tool. It's not a space. But where can we get together and work together on something, collaborate or communicate? Where can we have discussions? That to me is a space.
In that same vein of evaluation, can we evaluate this tool and how good it is to have assessments of students' learning, for example?
Yes, I think that it's one of my favorite topics, and I think there's a whole lot of questions about that at the moment. And to talk about assessments and how technology is also used for that, I've been working with various master's programs on campus in health science, where they have health practitioners from either all over the country or all over the world enrolled in their courses. And one of the ways in which they have to assess them is by making use of technology to assess presentations or even interaction between the students and other people. I mean, that is something that now happens in healthcare, which is in the industry as well. So, yeah, but that's a very interesting topic, and I've actually seen really creative work being done on that in the De Groot School of Business. So as you can see, I've included 2 screenshots here. One is of a team within Microsoft Teams, and the one on the right-hand side is a team within WebEx Teams. We are very fortunate that at this point we have access to WebEx Teams and Microsoft Teams on campus. Anyone with a Mac ID have access to those two collaborative spaces.
How many people could simultaneously join these?
Depends on what you want to do in the space. Microsoft team can have up to 5,000 members within the team.
5,000, okay.
Yeah, and it depends on what you do. There are limitations like the channels that you create. If you start thinking about creating channels for teams or group work, and there are privacy settings within those channels, they can accommodate like only 9 private channels where you can group people that the rest of the team can't be part of the groups. So there are limitations like that.
Yeah, so because I'm thinking that I'm teaching a course that I have 900 students, so I'm thinking that if the school closed, so if I want to use WebEx, for example, so I have heard that like only about 25 students or 25 users can only.
Oh, no.
I just did a Google.
No.
real
No,
quick.
no.
So it's WebEx would be even WebEx, not the team on the Microsoft. WebEx could.
We actually talked about those numbers this morning. We as McPherson, we want to have a look at the updated numbers for both these technologies, but we definitely have the ability to include thousands of students with the technologies we have on campus. It would be best for you to work with someone in educational technology and say, this is the space I need, these are the features that I need, and assess which one would be the best for you.
Do all the people that log in have to have a Microsoft 360 account?
We all do have a Microsoft 365 account through McPherson, so as long as you have a Mac ID, you log in on the Office Hub on the McPherson website, the Office Hub.
Can't I invite somebody who doesn't even have a Mac ID?
You can invite, you can add a guest. So the facilitator of that team, the manager of that team, you can add someone from different organization. I'm part of teams where I collaborate with York and Western University, and the owner of the team is my colleague at Western.
Okay.
So I'm added as that.
And they have the same functionality as anyone who has a Mac ID?
Yes, but they are only a guest within your team.
What if I'm offering a class, online class with team? Can I do it and where the attendees don't have a Mac ID?
You can add them as guests.
But they will be able to attend and
Yes.
participate. and
I
do
can
it.
also mention that at this point, because of COVID-19, Microsoft has actually made Teams available for free worldwide for educators and students for 6 months.
Okay.
Just one more quick thing. So I tried to actually join WebEx yesterday, but when I use my username Mac ID, it just shows me that your account is deactivated and I have to contact administrator. So I have contacted Avenue Support, but they haven't still replied back to me. So who is the person who I should contact?
Okay, so if you go to our channel within Teams that I've created for this workshop and click on WebEx, you will find the 24/7 number that you can contact for that. I've already included all the support for you in every channel.
Where can I find that WebEx thing?
The channel within this team that we are making use of. So if you go down in your channels, on the left-hand side, there should be a WebEx channel.
Oh yeah. WebEx
Yes.
team. Okay.
So how many people can simultaneously join a video conference
On which
on Teams?
platform?
Teams?
A video conference, they have different options. They have like what they call an event, and then they just have a meeting. If it's like a meeting, like I've started here, it's 250. And you see only 4 on screen at a time. So, yeah. Okay. So, which other tools? Because they asked me to tell you about, innovative online learning spaces and tools, I will mention this. It's not an institutionally supported tool, but there are few people using this, especially when you have large classes of people, of students, and they ask a whole lot of questions. It's usually instructors who are inundated by the number of emails from students, where they consider if we take this somewhere on an online space where when someone asks a question, fellow students can help answer that question. The interesting thing about Piazza, and this is also a free tool for everyone to use, the interesting thing about Piazza is that, one, it was designed by a female engineering student who was too shy to take part in conversations when she was studying, and she wanted to create a space where all students will feel included in a space like that. And the second really interesting thing is when you ask a question, everybody contributes to the answer, like on Wikipedia. So they create like a wiki answer. So you can add to it and take away from it. And then TAs or the instructor can come and vote it up or down or prove it. So I've seen very innovative use of this before. But once again, I want to stress this is a third-party tool. And so we have to consider what they do with our students' data, privacy, et cetera, et cetera. So
you can use the discussion tool in Avenue as well. You can
oh
set
yeah,
up
yeah. And
Chat
I'll,
discussion areas in
yeah,
Avenue, so that's
yeah.
all that technical.
yeah. This is me fulfilling the request of mentioning
Yeah, sure.
innovative technologies. Okay, so if we think about accessibility, I think under accessibility, we have such amazing support on campus. I would highly recommend you get in touch with Kate Brown. Any question about accessibility, and she can point you to resources. What to consider when I create documents? How do I make sure it's AODA compliant? Where can I go to a workshop? Is there someone who can come to my desk? Like just any question about neurodiversity of students, just anything. What kind of technologies they might suggest, because they are also very much aware of the different options to make learning more accessible to our students.
If you want to pre-record the lectures and post it on Avenue, which tool do you think work best? Like I know, for example, Echo 360 is one, the other one is Mac Video, but I'm not sure which one works better to just do pre-recording and then upload it on Avenue. So which one do you think works better with Avenue?
It still depends on a whole lot of things, and we are going to look at them in the multimedia session today. At this point, the Mac Video tool, you can actually activate from within Avenue to Learn, and I will show you how. You can go to the content section within your Avenue to Learn course, and you can click a button and you can start recording your screen or your cell phone camera, and it uploads within the Mac Video channel and on Avenue. So it's as easy as that. The Echo 360 tool is as easy to use. What happens when you use the Echo 360 tool is that it uploads to your content library within Echo 360, your Echo 360 library and account. And from there, it's really easy to share it anywhere. So if you want to share it on Avenue to Learn, you just, share it to Avenue.
So which one has higher quality for students?
They are both excellent quality, and I took screenshots because I recorded videos yesterday to test, what has improved and changed since the last time I did it. They both have superior quality. The Echo 360 tool comes with a little McMaster logo, so you have that as part of your recording. Both of them provide you with full transcripts of the video. And then a little hack that I can tell you about is if you are someone making use of Microsoft 365 and you create a team where only you are a member of, and you go online like this, you can do the exact same thing, record it. It can appear with the captions like this or without it, depends on what you prefer. You can blur your background. so nobody needs to see your family pet or something else in the background. However, that's a good thing for students. They like to see that professors are also human. Yeah, so and that automatically uploads to Stream, which is one of the Microsoft apps you have access to. Only the people of that team can see the videos in Stream that's posted there. And it also comes with full transcriptions that you can edit, and you can share it from there in a number of ways. So literally all the tools we have here on campus at this point, it's as easy as click a button to start the recording, stop the recording, it gets uploaded to a library somewhere, and you have a range of options to share it, and it comes with captions and with transcriptions. And I'm leaving this on so you can see how accurately it. Yes.
You might have already done this, but I probably missed it. Just very simply, so if you wanted to set this up, like let's say for the class that I'm running this semester, if I wanted to sort of pilot and test it, how do you actually go about first setting it up and then sort of telling the students how to actually go on and do exactly what we've just done?
Okay. So in the channel called Microsoft Teams, in our team, I have uploaded various resources for you, where to start, how to upload your students' names, as you know, add your students as members, etc. So if you click on files or go through that channel, you should get all that information. If you click on the link to UTS, so one of the important things to understand in terms of technology and our online learning spaces and tools on campus is that we have different people who administer the different areas, just like we have science who look after the science building and, you know, the GRUT and engineering. So when it's Teams, it's UTS, so you'll have to go to their website and get access to the support and the support materials, which is excellently arranged. And if it's Echo 360, it falls under Library, Campus Classroom Technologies, excellent. And if it's WebEx, it is McPherson, and you contact the Avenue to Learn team. So yes, we have at this point still different owners and administrators of the various online learning spaces and tools. But I have tried to make sure that within these channels that I've created for you, it's really easy. I've used bold type and highlight and all sorts of things. And if you have any suggestions, if you want to say, Krista, can you add a tab to the top of every one of those spaces and just say support and, you know, add the information like that, I'll do that. And you're also welcome to add. All of us are collaborators in those spaces, so we can mold it. I say I love Teams because Teams is like an autonomous car. You can take the driver's seat, or you can be a passenger in it and see where it goes. You can stop at different places. You can add different things to it. I really enjoy the experience.
Krista, can you download this as a single file on your hard disk, and what format and what kind of file size you end up with for like 3-hour lecture, for example?
If it's this recording,
Yeah.
it's a video, and so you will have to look at the different technologies, how you can download it as which kind of file. And from there, it would basically, if it's a video file, it would basically be you having the ability to edit it and to chunk it shorter. If you are going to share it online, we highly recommend you don't share long videos. You chunk it to 15 minutes max. Okay?
And the video will show exactly what you're seeing on the screen with you speaking as well as the lock screen.
Yes, I have the ability to decide what I want to have recorded here. At the moment, I shared my screen and it's full screen, so you can hear my voice and you can see what I share on my screen. So you can use this for a presentation that you narrate, or if I open up Microsoft Teams here and give you a quick demonstration of how to use it, then that's what you would see. I also have to point out that we have whiteboard features. So if you are in WebEx Teams, they have a whiteboard that you can use, which is really more functional when you use a stylus on a mobile device. If you want to use the same for math or something else, drawings, with Microsoft Teams, at this point, you still have to make use of their free whiteboard app that only works on mobile devices, okay, with styluses. But yeah, the sky is sort of the limit in terms of what we can do.
And can I control if the participants are able to record or not what I'm showing, or they can always record?
They can't record, it's you recording. Only you can record. The one who starts the meeting can record. And it will, yeah. Yeah, I'm not recording this. And when you record, it will send a notification so that people know that this is being recorded. Yes?
So when you record your voice, do you use any specific device to make sure that quality, it's just your laptop?
I just use my laptop. It really will depend on your own device. What I find with my laptop, this one is overused at this point. I use it so much. But anyway, my microphone and speaker system is not that good anymore. But what I find is I use my Bluetooth and just connect it. And so what I would often do if I have a group of people in a room together is I just put this in the middle of the room so that everyone who joins virtually can hear anybody in the room
So for
talk.
our
So
class, can we just use the laptop, and do you think the quality of the voice would be just fine?
yes, I would first do like a little test, do like a
Yeah.
10-second recording and load it up and see how it works, but you don't really need anything more than that. If you use it in classrooms to record while you're in a classroom, you're going to walk around, then a wireless mic like this would be better.
No, I'm just talking about if you're going to use Mac Video or Echo 360 in a case that like this school calls for the class, then I'll put it on with you.
So I'm a really bad facilitator of this session. We did start a bit late, but we're actually at the end of it, and I haven't shared half of it. So I'm going to quickly go through the rest of my slides, and I'm probably going to come back to the information that I'll share in the next session or two, because there is repetition and everything basically is one workshop. But let's maybe just move on to my next slide. So in terms of inclusivity, I love this image where it shows you we're not supposed to put in different steps for different people to be able to give everybody the same access to our learning. We should just take care of that fence and remove it, so that it doesn't matter what your ability is, you get the same access to learning. The Microsoft Learning tools come with a lot of accessibility features and checkers within the tools. When you do a PowerPoint presentation, you can add, as you can see in that picture as well, the live captions, and you can check on the tool called Accessibility Checker to make sure that the way you design your slides is accessibility compliant. Here, what I've done is I have recorded this meeting. There's the captions on the left, and at the bottom right, I can go into any part of our chat message within Teams, and I can translate it to my first language, which is Afrikaans. And you can see I also went into the immersive reader within the documents, and I've just translated the whole document, the whole conversation into my first language. I think it's really important. Canada is now the country with the third highest number of international students in the world. If the aim is to have like 25% of international students in our courses or enrolled at our university, I think they deserve to be able to use the tools that can enhance their learning. I'm a second language user of English. I know what it was like when I was an engineering student in my first year. I had thick American textbooks that I had to translate to really understand it well in my first language and then translate again. So please take note of that.
Something you have to do up front, or can students do that?
Students do it.
Okay.
Yeah.
on an average.
Yeah.
That's-
Yes. Okay, so I want to tell you about the Echo 360 Sandpit. What is that? It's a growing community of faculty, students, teaching staff, support staff, technologists on campus, who come together and learn how to make use of Echo 360 and all its features better to enhance learning. You can self-enroll by going to Avenue to Learn and click on the Discover tool. This is what it looks like. So if you're in Avenue to Learn, you go and click on Discover and you self-enroll in the Echo 360 Sandpit. Why is this so special? Because we did not only work with a group of instructors who teach in fully online courses, blended courses, and fully in-class courses to come up with how should we make use of this tool to engage students more and give them access to more of the learning process and space and content. But we also invited students to design this learning experience in Avenue to Learn. It was designed by students. They designed and developed the support for other students, and all of that's available to all of you. So the pedagogical considerations, the support that you might need, everything is in there. Please come and join this community. We also have an online community on campus where we share use cases, connect with people, where you can go and sit with someone and say, how did you start? What did your students say? We get phenomenal feedback. So I highly encourage you self-enroll and explore. I'm going to click through this because we're running out of time. The last focus that I want to turn your focus on the fact that if we communicate and we collaborate around information and we make use of educational technology, it is really important to make sure you learn as much as you can about the generational differences in how we communicate and collaborate and use technology. I was very fortunate to attend a session by Dr. Mary Donoghue from York University. She's been doing research on exactly this for the last 7 years. Her research is not open because she advises big companies. This is one of her slides, but I asked to have a 1-hour interview with her after the session that I attended, and she granted it to me, and I had so many questions for her. And I want to point out this one really important thing that she told me about learning. She said, if we look at Gen Y and how they need to interact with technology, and they are just so used to do it. When they are watching something or they hear something, they go to a device and immediately start finding more information on it. Maybe it's a visual that explains it more. Maybe it's a video. Maybe it's checking, and they go like, okay, you're not lying, you're telling the truth, or whatever it is. They usually do that, and then they come to the conclusion, okay, now I get it, or okay, yes, I believe you, you're right. But there's a huge difference between how they react and how Gen Z, which is typically our first and second year students now on campus, react when they collaborate and communicate based on the use of technology, and especially on technology. And this is the bit about learning that I think is really important. Her research found that if you introduce new information to Gen Z, they also have the tendency to go to the device. They usually go to more than one device. They might even go to a phone and a computer at the same time, checking things. What they also pay attention to is what their peers say or think about this. So they like to go and read the comments under the YouTube video that they are watching, or they like to go to discussion boards like Discord and Reddit and wherever they are on, and they look and intently read what their peers are thinking and saying about this. And then they want time to reflect. They want to go, oh, okay, that's what he or she says, move on. And you think about that and the tech tools that we have available, where in Echo 360, for instance, you can upload your slideshow and you can insert interactive slides with short questions or quizzes, and you can do the same with Mac Video and that Mac Video tool that we have on Avenue to Learn. You can insert quizzes or questions. That provides them with those breaks to see what others say about it, and then think about it and come up with their own answer. So I just wanted to point that out. So please remember and consider the access to learning, making it accessible, thinking about what true inclusivity means. It's also second language users. It's also students with mental health issues who feel anxious to come to class maybe, but are happy to connect virtually. So please think about our learners, the learning objectives, the learning spaces we have available, and the tools we can use. Thank you very much for your attention. I'm not going to take more questions now, but you are welcome to add it to the question bank in this team.